Hello viewers, this is Null Inquisitor. This is a video response to for the RPG VC, the RPG video community. This is a video response to Brother Juice, Lee Patterson. He made a video and he talked about world building and his ordeal with gods, how to came up with them and such. So I thought it was a good topic to start a conversation, or rather an expose about maybe our different methods about creating a world. You see, I believe it's not something we can preach about being true or something like that. Creating a world and setting to our own individual needs and our table or players. It's a unique experience each time, and I think it's a good topic to just talk about our processes, how we develop a setting, a world, how do you do how you we each do it. So I invite you to make a video about this topic. How do you create a world from scratch, from zero, from a faint idea to a complex thing? So I invite the video community, RPG video community, to make a video response to Juice, and just yeah, just to have a conversation about our processes. I see this as we're I'm gonna create an image here. We're each kung fu masters, and we each have techniques and special skills and special flavor in our styles. So let's share our techniques. Let's do a grand tournament and exchange tips how to be just to have a conversation about these things. So in Lee's video, there was a comment by Rob Gustafson. Hi, Rob. And I very much agree with his comment about the snowflake method. The snowflake method is really wonderful. It can transform a simple idea into a massive juggernaut of anything, a story. You can write script with this method. You can write books, and of course create a campaign with this. You start with like 3 or 5 things you want to have in your setting. Then for each of these things you add another thing or 5 other things, and you exponentially develop your setting like that. So it's a very good method to start a setting. uh, so I'm going to talk about just world building quick, and specifically he had difficulty coming up with gods for his setting. So I have a couple of suggestions. So and I will talk about world building, of course, from my perspective and my techniques and how I do it. So first of all, I'd like to say I don't build worlds quite the same each and every time. I don't have a formula. So it's more of a creative endeavor, creative experiment each and every time. But overall, we can agree that there is two way of going about creating a world. You have the top down kind of approach, and you have the bottom up kind of approach. You can start for example, you can start with just a village, a tavern, a little city, and you can build slowly what's around the city, and you can grow your setting from this little tiny grain of sand, making it a pearl later on. Or you can have the top-down approach. This is the I call this one the author approach. I have this grand idea. Here's my world. Uh, I've noticed there was a show on Twitch on the Geek and Sundry channel, a show that is no longer there, and the GM was very much like an author. He was a real deal, real life author writing books, and he was GMing this game, and it felt super heavy, and he was expositioning all the time. He was doing monologues and correcting players on how to portray this and that species, and he was very much in an author perspective. So it's not a bad way to create a setting, to have this voice, this grandiose idea, but this is an author kind of point of view for our hobby. And once the game is started, it's kind of the wrong attitude to have at the table when you have living, breathing players in front of you, reacting to what you give them to play. And also, it's most of the time things we have prepared will be thrown out the window as soon as it will contact with the player. So the GM standpoint is more bottom up. It's more start with little things and then explore with the player what they want to do. So I think it's more productive to go this way, and have a little maybe of top-down approach to just design quickly the continent, the gods, the cosmology of a setting, and then start from a little point and bloom from there. So yeah, that's generally what I prefer. A little bit of author, but more the GM with the player creating something, and then going full on snowflake method. Uh, about the gods, and I will try to finish this video kind of quickly. Um, to come up with gods for your setting, you can. I would always privilege two techniques. The first techniques would be to just go toward history, read a goddamn book about how the Aztecs did it, or the Mayans, or the Egyptians, and try to find, take notes of what I've did, what did they have done in the past with forgotten religions, and try to get inspired by this or that. Um, and one of the books I have in my shelves about this, it will be no surprise to no one knowing me just a little bit. GURPS Religion have a very good thesis and analysis of different kinds of gods, but also it's very generic. So it analyzes thematically and symbolism the gods. And something that I thought very funny at the end, at page 167, you have a checklist. You have a checklist how to create a religion and how to create a deity for the setting. So I don't know no I don't know no other books who have that kind of checklist. You want a god? Let's do this. Uh, so it's a really, I always been fascinated and very excited by what this book uh, gave to me for my different settings. Yeah, that's one suggestion. History and this book is a very good way to just create from you start with symbols and concepts like uh, fire or healing or motherhood or fatherhood or the state of being a child. It can be emotions like anger or rage or love, or you start with these concepts, and then you start imagining these concepts being explained by medieval people, and then take personalities. Gods are often linked with the history of their people, of how they think the world was created, and how this event can be explained. It must be that god who was angry, or it must be that god who dropped a pot on the floor and it cracked, and it cracked the earth and demon was released. And yeah, so just take a look at history, at how the ancient did it, and try to get inspired by that, and start from symbolism and the history of your world, or what the people of this world think history is, which is more fun, if you ask me. The second thing I would do for gods, I would pick books where gods already exist, like the Pathfinder 1 Inner Sea Gods, that I think I will use for a long time. Gods are in this book are so good. Even Matthew Mercer from Critical Role used Sarenrae, one of the main goddess of the setting, for his campaign. He had to change name for his book, but his player are still calling it Sarenrae. There's one by Green Ronin. This is the D20 version. There's another one for 5e coming up, or is it already up? It's a book of righteous. It's just a book with religions, gods, and things like that. So in a hurry, I would pick up a couple of gods already created in another setting. You can go Forgotten Realms. You can go any real life religions, and you pick up that god, and you can decide that in your game, Ra and Osiris will be part of your setting. You can start right with that. So I hope this video was insightful and answering the point. So yeah, I'm curious to watch your video about making your own setting and gods. How do you proceed? What's your process? What do you have in mind when you create a world, and where your focus lies? All these things are quite interesting to me, and I think the RPG video community will benefit from it. So thanks for watching. See you next time.